Tech Effect.
Welcome to Tech Effect, a monthly podcast series brought to you by TestDevLab. I'm Adrian, the host of the podcast, and together with industry experts, we provide discussions and advanced insights about trending topics in software engineering. Don't miss out on new episodes, and let's keep advancing our skills and knowledge set. In this particular episode, we explore the future of the OpenAI and its impact on the field of artificial intelligence. We will discuss the development of the new AI solutions and the recent call for the pause in training more powerful AI systems. We'll also delve into the potential regulations and challenges in AI development. Today, joining us, we have Matty Roy and also Anete Dowling. Matty, introduce yourself.
Hey, yeah, I'm working at OpenAI. I'm a project manager on the human data team, and I've been interested in the potential long-term impact of AI for about 10 years.
Okay, and Anete.
Hi everyone, I'm Anete Dowling and I'm a machine learning engineer here at TestDevLab. And I've been working in machine learning engineering, like the kind of area for, I would say, 5 years or so.
So my first question to Matt, how and why did you decide to work in the software engineering field? How did you end up here?
Well, if we go back like all the way, I'll just like explain the journey.
Yeah.
Like, I like to keep track of like why I'm where I am and what's all the moving part that made me like arrive here. And when I was young, I was like really afraid of death, and then when I became an adult, I discovered this community or philosophy called transhumanism of people that were hoping to that humanity could solve all its problems through technology. And then I was interested in learning more about the human brain and how we reason. And someone introduced me to Les Wrong, so I started reading on Les Wrong. Les Wrong is like a blog on human rationality, but it also discusses a broad range of topics, notably AI. And then I discovered like the risk of AI, what AI could bring, but also like its potential for negative impact as well. And then I started thinking like, yeah, that's like one of the most important topic currently, like and it was really neglected when I started looking into it. So yeah, I started getting involved like in reading a lot about that. And then I initially started working at UT, which is a small nonprofit working on AI safety related topics. And then I was collaborating with OpenAI when I was there, and then that's how I got into OpenAI.
And did you previously work in a software engineering field as well, or
Yeah,
how?
I self-learned. I went to university. I decided to learn physics engineering because I had a broad range of interests and I wasn't sure yet what I wanted. I wanted to specialize, and that was covering a broad range of topics. And then I self-learned programming, and I work as a software engineer, and that knowledge is really helpful because I'm like a technical project manager at OpenAI. So programming is like not my main thing, but I do use this as a tool often in my work.
So you use programming to boost your capabilities as
Yeah,
project
yeah,
manager, right?
yeah. And then after the
Nice.
programming, like I had like a full-time programmer for like 2 years. Then I stopped working as a programmer. I was taking care of a local effective altruism community in Montreal, and then I and yeah, then I transitioned to the role that I am doing right now.
Okay, that sounds quite interesting. And how about you, Annette? Can you share maybe your journey to working at a TestDevLab?
My journey is actually kind of like long, but I will try to keep it short and sweet.
Squeeze it.
Yeah, so I went to actually really small school in Latvia, and I was actually really lucky to have an opportunity to take a programming course at high school. And what influenced me the most to pursue programming as my career was actually my brother, who's also computer engineering. So eventually I thought, well, if he can do it, why can't I? So I kind of did that. So I applied to study automation and computer engineering. And during my bachelor's, I was really passionate about social robotics and artificial intelligence. So I kind of started learning more about that in my free time. And I actually met a fellow female student who was also interested in the same things. So yeah, together we ended up working in EU-funded projects, which later on led that, yeah, I decided to pursue a master's degree in the same kind of study. And I was actually, me and her, we were actually only 2 people out of 15 who graduated that program and got master's degree. And then, yeah, because of during my time at university, I kind of developed passion for machine learning and computer vision. And then later on, I was offered a job at TestDevLab, which offered me opportunity to involve both and worked in research and development team. So here I am, and my journey is still ongoing. So
Before, well, I ask my first question, do you know what is the most actual thing and the buzz about in the OpenAI thing?
A buzz about the OpenAI thing. And
Yeah, well, in Reddit, at least when I read it, the first thing that people always ask is OpenAI already developing
right, yeah.
GPT-5?
Yeah, that's definitely one. Like I saw also like some like OpenAI is kind of siloed in some ways. Like I'm not aware of all the development that's going on inside OpenAI, and like I learn about sometimes I learn about things through the news. Like there's been like apparently a leak. I don't know if it's true about some recent like a new development at OpenAI, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Um, GPT-5, like some element says that we're not going to work on this for now. Uh, like he said that publicly, but we're improving GPT-4 like in many ways. I guess what has been counting as like incrementing the number by one is when I guess it's when we train a new model. But I feel like it's a little bit arbitrary. Like what's GPT 4.5 or 5 like. Um, we're improving like GPT-4 in many ways, but yeah, like I think right now a lot of the work that needs to be done is like integrating the technology in many tools that we have right now. So I think that's well that it makes sense to focus on that, and and even like the GPT, like GPT that can read images, that's very compute intensive, and that's why it hasn't been rolled out yet more broadly because yeah, there needs to be like more hardware development, and NVIDIA like needs to produce more chips. So so I think like that's been slowing down a little bit what we could do.
Basically, so basically, you have really like high security between teams, and you do not talk to each other, so you don't expose some of the information. That's what's going on can be about new development things and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Annette, maybe you have some questions about that.
yeah, like during COVID, there was this big buzz about blockchain, and it got a lot of media coverage. And this year, I feel like it's just ChatGPT everywhere. Like you go online, it's ChatGPT here, ChatGPT there. Like, what is your outlook on that? Like, do you think AI chatbots will be around in 5 years? It's still going to be a big thing, or I don't know, in 5 years there will be better technology that will replace it, or our kind of like attention's gonna move towards something else and not chatbots?
Like in the past years, like I, I've been pretty confident that AI will be a big thing at some point if we don't go extinct. Like it will be a major transition. But I've always been less confident about the details, like when it was gonna happen or how fast it was gonna happen, like how risky it was gonna be. Like those details they're very complex and there's like many possibilities. I don't, yeah. So I'm kind of surprised like how fast AI has developed. Like I knew AI at some point would be like we would reach AGI probably, but yeah, I'm surprised how fast it's been going, and it's something that I've been very interested in for a while, and it's really weird to see like not everyone is interested in this because when I was interested in this at first, it was really niche, and and yeah, and people were not taking like existential risk from AI seriously, or that, just that we would have powerful AIs. People were like, yeah, sure, like maybe in the future. The people were saying like, oh, it seems like a religion. It seems like you're in a religion, like, and now I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
we're a
like a
religion.
cult.
We're a religion that makes stuff happen. Like, other religions don't make things happen. Like, yeah.
But yeah, regarding that, there's people's interest actually is really sparked regarding the AI. That's true, especially the OpenAI, just ChatGPT itself. And in Reddit, there was also one of the things. Well, not only Reddit, but actually when I googled about the OpenAI, there's Sam Altman. He expressed concern about the risks of AI. And he said that there are needs to be a 6-month pause in training AI systems that are more powerful than ChatGPT. How do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Are we really like so far with development of AI that we need actually like half-year pause?
Yeah, I don't know if you said Sam Altman said that, but I don't think he said that, right? But yeah, the Future of Life Institute, they had a letter where a lot of people signed it. I I'm very conflicted about like whether we should pause. Like I think if we were able to pause like worldwide for many years and then focus on better understanding how those systems work and how to make them safe, that seems like it would be very valuable. But if we are pausing it for 6 months, like uh, it could be valuable, but there are, for that same reason, but there could also be downsides. Like other organizations could catch up with the leaders, like, and I think I think OpenAI is a really safety conscious compared to like all the other organizations that would be catching up with OpenAI. And I would prefer to also avoid a lot of competition and like people will usually protest like, yeah, I agree, competition is like super useful usually to develop better products, but if we have a lot of competition in AI, uh, it will favor the players that are the most reckless and like the that cut the most corners to develop their technology, and I think yeah, and I think that could be dangerous. So, and then the other reason I'm like maybe we should not pause is like if we can see hardware will still improve even if we pause AI development. It won't, maybe it won't be developed as fast, but it will continue to be developed. And then once we start experimenting with AI again, we're gonna deal with much stronger AI right away. Like, so that's another argument for keep developing it. But I'm really conflicted. Like, I see both good reasons to consider pausing or not pausing it.
I actually wanted to ask you regarding this. But do you think, like, all these, I know there's now EU AI Act and similar potential regulations. Like, do you think it will make like this harder to develop these AI models and new features, or it will actually kind of help everyone in some way to kind of be in the keep things in the same playground and not go overboard about it? Like, do you think it's actually beneficial, or
Yeah, it seems to me like the current the current regulation being that I see being discussed, that seems very useful to me. Uh, maybe it's gonna, yeah, like, and I hope like other countries join, all the countries, the major players join in. Like, it's really a collaborative effort. If only the EU self-regulate and the other country like the US and China don't, then it's not really gonna. Well, it's still gonna be helpful because companies operate globally. But I
But
think
does that mean that these companies that will not be in the UA will have more possibilities to advance than if they will create a company in the UA and do an AI?
yeah, I'm concerned about that. But I strongly encourage like being the first, like let's just do it first, and then let's like invite the other countries for reciprocating, and then like gradually increase the amount of policies that we have. uh, I think this like we need that for the survival of humanity. So long term, and also for short term, like for the shorter terms arms as well. So there's not really a choice, I think.
That makes sense. But also, like, do you think it should be kind of like all developers, like for example, machine learning engineers should be under these laws to make sure that everything is like, being done correctly, or should the companies just enforce that? Or the scientists and
Well, like I guess there are questions that we need to answer. Like what there's like you could oversee all the AI is developed, or you could just oversee the outcome of AI. What if like an AI system cause harm? Who's responsible? Is it the company that developed the AI? Is it the person that used the AI? Is it like the AI itself? Like probably not. But I think it would make more sense to hold accountable the big corporation that are the company developing the AIs. Not in all ways, but like if the AI generated an output that it wasn't supposed to, uh, uh, that was reckless and dangerous to generate. I think the company developing the AI, not the company using the AI, should be held responsible in general, because they have the most resources, and it's really important for them, like versus like just an individual or a small company using the AI. And I think they're the one that will be able to address those issues.
I was just thinking, well, with all the AI advancements and stuff like that, how likely do you think that some of the jobs will probably vanish? In how long period of time do you think that could be?
I mean, I think that's already happening. Like, uh,
Because for
I
in my opinion, for some like jobs, it actually helps to boost your potential, right?
Yeah, like some man like makes a comparison with electricity. When electricity gets cheaper, people actually have been spending more on electricity historically. Like there's a higher need. So maybe if programmers become cheaper, then the people want to pay even more programming. Like, cause there's a bunch of tools that haven't been developed yet. I think that's like what that's possible. It's possible, like, but like that's just gonna be temporary. Eventually, AI will replace everyone, unless like we somehow figure out how to merge with AI. Um, but short term, I think like in the next few years, I think I think there's going to be like major disruption, and there's going to be a lot of people that will need to find new job probably over the coming decade.
Have you heard about the universal basic income?
Yeah,
So, do you think that could be a potential solution if there's a lot of job loss? People, people.
yeah. I'm really like uh, unsure about it. Like, I think it's important that the wealth generated by AI be at least part of it be like redistributed to the world. And I really like that OpenAI says limits its profit, and then everything else goes to the nonprofit. But instead of giving the money to the people and then like uh, and then taxing it to like fund common goods, I think it might be useful to use a lot of that money to fund common goods directly, like that things that would benefit everyone, like research DCs, for example. So, and instead of giving money to people, maybe you use that money to like research DCs or research other things that would benefit everyone. Of course, like if people can't like afford basic living, that's a problem. Like that should be addressed first. I think we already have safety nets for that, but uh, for as for like at some point, if like a major part of the population can't work, then universal basic income, I think, yeah, we need that. Like we need people to be able to live like uh, comfortably without if they can't work, like, and we have as a civilization we have all this wealth, like, yeah, of course they should have access to part of that wealth.
yeah, like from my perspective, I would say that AI will definitely be taking some jobs away, but also it creates jobs. Like I'm a machine learning engineer, I wouldn't be able to work as that if there was no need for that. So I would say it also like creates opportunities. It's just depending on the situation.
Yeah, if people can grasp really quick the new tech, what AI offers, and now knew how to use it and structure it really well, they can teach people how to
Yeah,
actually
because
use the AI.
It's like the car, like we're pushing it on the car, and it makes sense. Yeah, if you have or like you have like uh, something that's like I don't know if it's the right analogy, but yeah, you're pushing on a car to make it go faster. Yeah, you can push on the car to make it go faster, like if it's not going fast. But at some point, the car is going so fast that you can't even run as fast to like keep pushing it. I think it's the same with AI. Yeah, AI is not going fast enough right now. You can like push it so that it goes faster. But I think at some point, AI will go so fast we won't even be able to like keep up to help it.
It is either
And
either we jump in or we stay behind.
y- yeah, yeah. Again, like maybe we merge with AI and then like some I don't know what happens at this point. But it's like with like horses, let's say horses used to be out driving us places, and now they're out of job. Like the population crashed like dramatically. There's like way less horses than they used to, just because cars replace them. And I think and AI, we're developing a brain like which is what allows us to do all the jobs that we do. And I think the same will happen to us.
Can you maybe like one thing that came to my mind? Maybe you can like provide an overview of the potential upcoming features or plugins that OpenAI is currently working on, if you can. That would be
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that uh, is like in beta or alpha, and some people have access to it. Um, and yeah, like one that we were hoping to release earlier, which when we released GPT-4, like was mentioned, is being able to process images, so you can ask queries and also include like a bunch of images. There's also a code interpreter. Like there's been videos made on this in the last couple of weeks online, where you can submit like a large variety of data and ask of information. Like you can send a CSV file and ask it to make graphs or like play with the data. And I've already started using it. Um, it's like the AI connecting all the AIs together. Like so, if you want the is text to image or text to voice or text to video, um, AI, I think, in many way will become an interface between us and the other products. So, like, if you want to access Amazon, maybe you just ask GPT instead of. This is not a plugin that exists as far as I know, but like, there's a plugin for Instacart, for example. So you can say uh, that you want to make a vegan recipe, and then once you find like recipes that you like, you can ask the AI to add all the items that you need in your cart.
is there maybe any other like features or plugins that can enhance the productivity efficiency?
Like I've been starting to use Vowel the AI, which I
Okay.
don't know if they use GPT. Like they might not. I don't know. But they definitely use a large language model, and and I really like I've been recording my life like for multiple years, and like now that we're at the point where I whisper like and transcribe everything that I've said like perfectly, and then I can ask AI to search like this information. That's so powerful. Like I'm now doing all my calls on Vowel AI because it gets a transcript, and I can and it gets the to-do list. Like as I talk, it suggests items to add to my to-do list, and I can ask a question. To like summarize what has been said so far. Like if someone joined the calls late, they can ask like what has been a short summary of what has been said so far, and we can interact with this transcript in real time. And I think yeah, I'm really looking forward to like having developing this more. Like maybe the AI like if there's a conflict in the call, like the AI could suggest like ways to address the conflict or it could be like a third person in the conversation that augments our conversations. So yeah, I'm really excited about those features, those like tools being developed.
Yeah, so you've been recording all your life, and now they've been these AI models that basically people make of themselves just from the recordings. Have you ever considered doing something like that? Or maybe you are aren't you a bit scared that someone might do that using your videos and everything?
So ultimately, like the main reason I was recording my life was that if I was to die, then I would have collected. That's the only thing that's like cannot be reversed is collecting information. Everything else I feel like can be reversed with through enough engineering is just like putting that information together. So that's what I've been doing. Like I'm signing up for Cranix for the same reason. Like I'm just collecting information, and if something happens to me, and something is already happening to me, I am forgetting like things all the time because our brain is like has a limit amount of energy and space that it can use. So I'm already like dying like every day, part of me, and I don't want this to happen. So I'm collecting this information to be able to like uh, use in the future. Maybe if I decide that I want to reintegrate it in my brain somehow or something like that. Uh, I don't know if it's silly, but I'm a little bit afraid of doing it wrong. Like, what if like I create kind of a copy of myself, but their experience is like really weird, and we don't care about their AI, so we don't care about their like uh, experience, and like we just like use them as slaves, and now like there's a bunch of digital copies of me that I value as much as I value myself that are being exploited. Like I kind of afraid of that, but I'm afraid like what it's like to be a digital mind right now. Probably I don't know, like probably nothing, but I really don't know. Like I'm afraid, but yeah, but if you remove that concern, it's interesting to me that people would be able to talk to a digital version of myself, so I can augment myself and
Yeah, no, to
yeah,
me,
be more
because I've
productive.
seen all these stories, people take I know other people's voice and kind of make these phone calls and everything. And, if you record all your life and they have access, access to all this information about you, like personal stuff, it could be a bit scary. Because even for me, I'm very cautious what I put online because, all the information, if it goes to wrong hands, that's why I was just kind of curious
Yeah,
of what's your outlook on this.
Information is the most valuable thing we have, right?
yeah, yeah. I wonder what's gonna happen like when we get this tech accessible. Like, will people start? Some people will probably start recording themselves more. Although AI is pretty good at like working with only a few information. Like 11 Labs is replicating my voice with a 5 minute audio clip. Like, but yeah, maybe other people will try to like become dark on the web if it's not too late and the
Well,
information.
maybe a lot of
Yeah,
more people will think of what should be posted to the internet and what should not be.
yeah, we're gonna create the idealized version of their digital self will be like what they want the world to know about them, I guess.
Imagine if we go back to like phones that don't have internet access and anything, and you can just make phone calls like without touchscreen, without anything, just because of the AI development.
I hope it's not gonna
What,
happen.
what do you mean?
But
Uh, uh,
like back
like
in
people like
the 80s or 70s, where there's no phones because everyone's going dark because of the AI.
yeah, yeah. One thing I was thinking is like, okay, people used to play poker in person. Then we got the internet. People started playing poker online, and then we have AIs that like will beat you at poker and you lose your money. Like, I mean, I don't know what's happening right now in terms of poker, but if it's not happening already, I feel like yeah, poker will become unless you're able to really authenticate like that's it's a human playing. Like, yeah, you won't be able to play poker online anymore. And
Yeah,
then we're
they
back to
will go
like
back to basics. Exactly, they're gonna go back to
yeah,
playing poker on.
I feel like because of these new advancements in AI and it becoming more powerful, we will actually need better, cybersecurity, and we will actually have to invest a lot of research towards, like, you know, towards all that, so that AI can't be used in a bad way to harm others. So I think that's actually one thing that might be very popular in the future.
yeah. I think Sam Altman, like WorldCoin's nonprofit, is working on a ice sensor that would be its vision for the main way of authenticating people, so to make sure they're humans.
I was thinking, well, While developing all these new features, how much actual software testing is involved, and what's the collaboration like between the developer and the testing engineer?
Yeah, it's very layered. Like I'm not aware of the full pipeline, but there's like internal tests, and then there's red teams from like other nonprofit that we give early access to our model. Like that's what we did for GPT-4. Like I think it lasted for over 6 months before we released it, between the point of having created it, and then there's like release it alpha mode where like you're just gradually releasing it to, and monitoring like how it's being used, what's happening, and making the fix that needs to be made. And yeah, so if at any point in the pipeline like a malicious use is found, like then it can be addressed before it's released more.
Are there maybe any like specific challenges that OpenAI has encountered during these type of developments of these upcoming features and products?
Problems, I guess, with like generating false information, but that's like some people. I heard like some people say like, oh, OpenAI did not predict that this would happen, that people would jailbreak GPT. I'm like, I can't say for sure. I can talk for for people that everyone at OpenAI, but like, no, no, I'm pretty sure people at OpenAI, like we knew like that we jailbreak Open GPT all the time ourselves, like. It wasn't like a big surprising news that like people were jailbreaking ChatGPT. Uh,
So when
I mean,
ChatGPT was released, you already knew that it could, and it will be potentially jailbreaked.
I can talk for other people at OpenAI, but like yeah, that was pretty. That wasn't surprising at all to me. Like yeah, that was pretty. That was my by far my prediction. Yeah, and useful like information to be able to develop make them our model safer, so that when we get stronger AIs, then we've already had uh this problem, and and a lot of data to address it. If Yeah, that's all we can address it is by releasing it early. If we wait, um yeah, I don't think, and like there are disclaimers everywhere. I mean, I could be in a bubble, and that's not the case. But I feel like people do know that generative AI will generate things that are false sometimes, uh, and to take it into context of like they're trying to jailbreak it on purpose. Like they know what they want their like consent to what the AI is generating.
I actually was thinking regarding the ChatGPT. You when I asked one question, but in different ways, it gives a totally different answer. And the thing is that, I mean, the idea is to use it as a prompt. Like if you write more consistent, like short and very precise question, it will give you more accurate answer. But if you kind of like, I don't know, ask a question like a regular user, then yeah, it kind of gives this false information, but with such a big confidence. Like you read it and it's like, wow. But like, because even some kind of questions, like even machine learning, where I'm very knowledgeable of, and sometimes it gives me such an answers, and sometimes I think, but this sounds so confident, you know, like it makes you kind of think. And so my question is like, is OpenAI doing something kind of like where they I don't know, process the fake information, fake news, how they kind of for their data sets, like if they kind of, I don't know, do some kind of checkups so they don't train like the ChatGPT on fake news websites and stuff like that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm not like I can't say for the. I mean, that seems like they probably do that, but I'm not involved in like which data is initially fed to the model to train them. What I'm involved with the team that gives human feedback to the AI, and we do this with my team. Like, we present. We have like a team of trainers that are there to teach the AI how to respond, and the AI presents like multiple answers that it's thinking are likely to be true, or like are useful, and armless. Like those are the three main things that we care about, like armless, truthful, and useful. and yeah, the trainer like identifies if the information fits those criteria, so that they I can learn to from that feedback.
Oh, okay. But also regarding that, the reinforcement learning, the stage where you retrain it, like I read some articles regarding, how tries to go malicious ways. Like if you ask it, in a tricky way, it also does it. So, and then in reinforcement learning, using reinforcement learning, you kind of stop it so that it, doesn't do that in the when you release it to the general public. But my concerns are, you can't I don't know, you can't guess, you can't know all these kind of use cases where it might go bad, or it might give fault, like, act bad way. So your outlook, how can you like ensure that, most of the typical malicious use cases are not, don't go further?
Yeah, I don't know how well it will generalize like and be able to uh, understand from human feedback like versus like I don't know how much that was their problem over time. Um, one thing I was thinking, this is not, I don't know, it's not related to OpenAI, but yeah, I was thinking like, oh, maybe we could train another model that tries to predict the probability that an output is should be flagged or should be yeah, I don't know, that's primary thoughts, but like maybe we can even have a marketplace of like AIs that try to identify outputs that are malicious and then have them taxed in some way, and then the company that like detected it gets a reward. And I don't know, but I feel like they're yeah, that will need to be, I don't know if it will generalize or we will need to have like some qualitative innovation, like something new, or if just more human feedback at some point will generalize. I don't know.
Can reinforcement learning in ChatGPT improve maybe over time with if more user interacts with it? If so, how is it possible?
Yeah, I don't know, like I know there's like thumbs up and thumbs down buttons on the ChatGPT interface. So that might be used as feedback. I don't know, but I do know like some clients opt in having their data used, and that's definitely used to train the AI.
Also, like about like reinforcement learning, you said you have thumbs up, thumbs down, and you kind of like evaluate, if it's truthful or not. But the thing is, like, there's a lot about reinforcement learning in ChatGPT, but there's less information about how it's being trained, on what data specifically. That's not being really said. And for me, like, as a machine learning engineer, like for me, everything depends on the data you trained it on. So how can we as a public be sure that it's not really biased in some cases? Because like, as they say, what you put into the model, that's what you getting out of it. So how can we as a public be sure, yeah, that what they're doing is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was reading about the Center for AI Safety, who were like reviewing some policies that might be helpful, and that was one of the main three they were suggesting that could be both helpful for shorter term risk as well as long term risk. Was yeah, more visibility up into the data that's being fed into the AI. I'm not sure like what would be the specific of a policy that would address that, but that makes sense to me what you're saying.
Yeah, because like nobody like everyone kind of keeps it, hidden. And I mean, I get it for the training reasons. You don't want to put your data public because then, competitors can use the same data set and they can even maybe get better results. So I know why, the companies don't want to disclose it, but I think for general public, maybe,
On one end, like I don't want to increase competition in AI because for the reasons I mentioned earlier. So that would be like a cost to me to have this. But but maybe the benefits are
I
higher than the
mean,
cost. I don't know.
developing these large language models, it's really not, it's really pricey. It costs a lot, not just, money wise, but also, energy and the computing power. And I don't think that, many small companies can actually jump in and, compete with the big players like OpenAI or Meta.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I hope that's the case. It might be true, but like I've seen like a University of Stanford, for example, just using our GPT API to reproduce, and they were using like a weaker model from Facebook that had been leaked, and they train it with the OpenAI API, and they were able to get like, I mean, according to their own paper, I haven't verified this information, but they were able to get an AI that was pretty much as good as GPT itself. Just and they just use like $600 of API queries to train it. So and Google is also saying that Google is saying like we can't protect the tech. Like it's really hard to protect the tech. I don't know if they're right. Like maybe all the infrastructure that OpenAI is creating, like all the plugins and the API and and all of that will be sufficient to protect uh, the tech, but it's not obvious to me. It seems like pretty easy to copy and hard to protect.
How far would you say is OpenAI with the development of superintelligence?
Yeah, I used to have long timelines. Like I was like, yeah, it's gonna take decades or more. Now I'm like, oh man, I wouldn't be that surprised if it was this decade. Like all the big tech CEOs, like most of the big tech CEOs, I feel like were closeted, like transhumanist, and they were like, yeah, we have this goal, but now like everyone is like public about it. Like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, they're all saying like we're gonna get AGI within 10 years, and some of the extrapolation I've seen, like yeah, they have it within 20 years, and at some point you get also a feedback loop of using AI to develop AI. So for me, 10, 20 years, like that I wouldn't be surprised if that happened within
But
that frame.
from your perspective, do you think it's actually needed? Because, like, there are some AIs for specific use case. There are multiple different areas that have been already, are being already used, and there's no problems with that. Using different AI for each task. And do we really need that super intelligence? What is your outlook on this?
I think ideally we should like. I mean, I would prefer if we just take a pause and like figure out what's up with superintelligence and like what's gonna like how to make it safely, like or how to get yeah. But but it seems really hard to say to stop it. And I'm not saying we shouldn't try. Like maybe there are ways that are worth trying and that would work. But if I just myself say like, oh, I mean, some people think it's useful even as individuals. But yeah, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do it. Yeah, but it's probably still gonna happen though.
Do you think with all this technology advancements in AI, can it somehow help with lie detection?
I'm thinking like, yeah, I've already seen like some recent studies like using large language model helping with things like lie detection and mind reading, and I think it will also help with cross referencing like a lot of information. And yeah, and like an idea that I've been playing with in my mind for a while, like I don't know how realistic it is, but would be to use this on people running like the big AI companies, because they could have a lot of power and they could it doesn't seem implausible to me that they would basically they could like decide where the future of humanity like goes like indefinitely into the future. So like interviewing which god do we want or people we're going to elect as having this power, like that seems like something that could be really beneficial. And Yeah.
Yeah, so Jeff Bezos started selling books online, and now he's sending rockets into space. And Facebook started out as social network platform primary for Harvard University students, and now they even have their own Meta AI research division. Like, in what ways do you think ChatGPT will change to increase the market share and keep the investors happy? Because eventually, everything changes.
Yeah, I think it will. I mean, it seems to me like it will always be related to AI, like, but that's so broad. It's like, yeah. Um,
But currently, it's like just like a chatbot. I just said that. But like, so what direction are they going?
like OpenAI has invested in a bunch of companies. Like they have, I don't remember, I think over $100 million of an investment fund where they invest in a bunch of startups, mostly AI startups. One of them is yeah, working on creating humanoid robots. Uh, um so I mean, I know Tesla is also working on that. So like that might be a space where I don't know if OpenAI will like eventually like buy out some of those startups or they would just collaborate with them, but that they have their hands on like some of those things. Um, I wonder, like, this is not related to. I'm not really talking on behalf of OpenAI, and I don't know like, uh, but I don't know what they're doing in that regard. But if it turns out that AI is tech is art to protect, like everyone can copy your AI pretty easily. I'm thinking like it could be that to stay competitive, you need to keep the AI to yourself and develop more things internally. Uh, I, I don't know. I don't assign like personally high priority to this, but it's something that I
So
keep in
kind of
mind.
develop something for
Yeah.
yourself and just not tell anyone that you have it. Yeah.
I mean, maybe you use your AI. Maybe you
To
tell people
yourself.
like, yeah, we have an AI doing R&D and anti-aging research, and then you commercialize like the AI's findings, but you don't commercialize the AI itself.
Okay, that would actually be an interesting approach, I would say. Because yeah, since OpenAI started promoting ChatGPT so much, suddenly everyone kind of went in on it.
But yeah, some man is saying that they won't develop other AI application because with the which with the GPT API, because other companies were afraid that OpenAI would compete with them, and some man said like, yeah, we're only going to develop ChatGPT. All the other use cases, uh, like we're not going to compete with you, and so yeah, they're still gonna make it available through the API. But I think ChatGPT could like is pretty general purpose. Um, So it's like,
No, I feel like a lot of issues about it is that people don't really understand it yet. Like, let's just say about these writer jobs now in Hollywood and everywhere else. Like, they're like, oh, like AI can do this already. Why would we pay you this much? But when you actually use the AI for the job, it's not really good, like at all. Like, it's so new, so you can't really like, you know.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Right now, for a lot of those things, we totally need the humans to just work with AI. Like, like when I'm when I'm programming, like I'm using GitHub Copilot. That's really helpful. Like, I'm like mind blown sometimes. Like, oh shit, it knew that I was gonna write this, but I still need to like do all the heavy lifting.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like a really helpful tool. Like, even for the writers, they can get some ideas for, their work from it, but it doesn't mean that, their jobs will be taken away, like, at the end of this month or so. So I think that, yeah, so I feel like, because of the media outlook on everything, I feel like there's just like kind of this false and this, I don't know, false image of about this, because like I feel like even ChatGPT is like still in its early stages. It still has a lot to, you know be improved and different areas, and it still needs to be retrained multiple times, and it needs newer data and everything. But it's just that, because of all this media outlook, it's made like this big bad thing that will, I don't know, destroy the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, yeah, no,
Yeah,
GPT-4 is not going to destroy the world, obviously. Like
maybe.
GPT-8, maybe, I don't know.
But ChatGPT is like little Santa's helper, you know. You can give him any task. It's like little Santa's helper. Like ChatGPT helps you out with little tasks, and if you know how to take them and how to assess them correctly, you can get a perfect outcome. Okay, so we've been talking for already 1 hour, right? And so for not keep, let's not keep it quite longer. But one question still from me. So as we now know, OpenAI has a lot of different upcoming features, and it already has plugins and stuff like that, and other type of products. How can how do you think how can it support educational initiatives or online learning
Yeah,
platforms, right?
I've seen like
What's about that?
companies, learning companies use GPT for this purpose already. Like, I want to use it to improve my accent because it bothers me that I still have like such a thick French accent. And I've seen some tools like uh, I mean, I don't think that one specifically. Uh, I've seen a plugin actually on ChatGPT. I haven't tried it yet. Um, yeah, and like personalized tutors. I've tried to use it as a personal tutor, and in some I've tried like ask. I was asking it a question, and I said like, if I'm getting it right, ask me harder questions. When I'm getting it wrong, like ask me easier question. It was kind of good. Like and yeah, so it's gonna allow for more customized learning. Um,
Okay, again, I think we can wrap this up, right? So thank you everyone for joining us on this particular episode as we explored a little bit the future of OpenAI and its impact on the AI landscape, right? I hope that everyone who listened to this gained valuable insights. And yeah, just follow us on Spotify or YouTube for more thought provoking discussions on the latest tech trends. And if you have any suggestions or feedback, or you want to ask any questions to us or Matty, just connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Reach out under the name of Tech Effect, and then just stay tuned for our next episode. And we will still continue to uncover the ever evolving world of technology. So, yeah, thank you, Matty. Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
thank
you
Anat.
for having
you.
us.